All right, well, we'll see how many attendees we can get on this Thursday webinar. So welcome back for those that are in person, and for those that are going to watch the recording. We hope you get a lot out of this and be able to apply this to your website. As we've been doing for a couple months now, we're continuing on with our weekly website tutorials to go over different sections of the control center, have a deeper dive, and really kind of get into each individual area to try and throw out there what the website can do and how you can apply that in your case. Before we get into where we left off last week, I just want to show folks on the back end of your website is the control center. In the upper right here, if I zoom in above the help center, view weekly website tutorials. And if I open that up, we're taken to the list of the previous website tutorials that we have done and recorded for you, as well as a location to sign up. So if you missed one or you're wondering what was recorded in the past, this location again in the control center above help center will allow you to revisit all the ones that looks like we made it to 40. So you've got 40 videos to catch up on. There we go.
Popcorn.
So without further ado, we are going to continue on under the My Website tab, e-commerce settings. Last week, we went over the first two tabs on the left, and before I get into the payment options tab, or actually I'll get into that, it does tie in a little bit to the one above it. So with payment options here, this is a location that you can add, edit, delete if you want, all of the payment options that you want to make available when your print buyers check out on your website. So think of it like this. If A company or Z company or whoever comes to your website, you need to make sure all the applicable payment options are going to be available to your print buyers. I call this part one, but you want to make sure they're added here. And the top one, authorize.net, which would be that credit or debit card payment, this always will show up at the top if, under the online payments tab, you have a gateway service selected and you filled in the credentials. Now, 9 times out of 10, I've seen the signature key filled in here. But regardless of who you have selected as a gateway service, that will show up in the payment options tab at the top as your credit or debit card, and then it'll mention define in payment gateways, which is back here. So this will show up first. If you happen to not use a payment gateway, I think this shows blank or it might not show up at all. The second one below that, if you have a PayPal email address, so if you'd like to accept payments via PayPal, all you have to do is select edit and enter in your PayPal email. Now I just have example.com, but whatever email you have affiliated with your PayPal account, you would fill in, and then you'd be connected to receive payments into your PayPal account.
Well, it just doesn't get any easier than that. Here's my email. Now I can get money. That's pretty.
Yeah, pretty much. Of course, it's up to your print buyers to give you that money, but we try to make it as easy as possible for you to set up your payment options. So the rest of them here, the purchase order comes along for the ride when you have a website with us, and the rest of these here, you can edit these. So some of these are provided to you as a getting started. I know COD and I think credit card. If you have a payment gateway with credit debit card, you may or may not need this one here, which does not tie into a payment gateway. You could delete that one if you wanted to. You can edit an existing payment option. When it says payment option, this is what's shown to you on the back end so you know what it is or maybe who it's for. Displayed as is how this is displayed to your print buyers when they go to checkout. And I'll show you an example, I think. But displayed as is how your print buyers would see this payment option when they go to checkout. You can determine if this payment option requires a billing address, which is on or off, so yes or no. On means yes, it does require a billing address to be entered. Off means they are not required to enter a billing address when they check out. And then you would say update payment options. So part one, as I mentioned, or I like to parse it out, is setting up your payment options on this tab. Part two,
Hey, before you leave part one,
yeah,
can I go back to that for a second? I'm just going to go
sure.
a little bit because it just dawned on me something that that's probably important to call out if this is brand new territory for some of our subscribers. Prior to you deleting it, you had the credit card option on the bottom, and you might be thinking, if you're looking at this for the first time, well, I have credit card on the top and now I have credit card on the bottom. What's the difference? And I think it's important. This is the part where I just kind of thought about this too, is those top three that are on there: credit card, PayPal, purchase order. Those are all, I guess, what would you call them? Specialty, not even specialty ones, but a little bit more than just simple fill in the blank items on there. There's more to it than just having your print buyer hit a radio button on the checkout screen. The authorized.net, or the one enabled by the payment gateway, is going to enable that real-time transfer of money. Same thing with PayPal. Purchase order is also built into the system there as well, because that opens up for your print buyers. It opens up that field where they can fill in that. So those three have very unique functions. And then the remainder of the one that you deleted, the credit card one. Boy, I'm really going off script here today. That last one, those remainders, those are the ones that are just simple selections. There's no extra smarts to them. So, oh boy, I really hopped up on a soapbox. Trish, tie me all together there. What is that? How do I bring that all together there?
Yep. So the only reason I deleted that credit card, debit card is a quick to show you that it could be deleted. Otherwise, it's more or less a static option that they would choose at checkout. They are not going to be prompted to enter in a credit card or debit card number. It's more, I'm going to choose it. I'm on my way. There isn't anything special, would you say, much like the top three that are still listed here. So continuing on, once you have these added under the payment options tab, if we go to the accounts tab of your control center, account settings, and click on payment options, this is the location where you can decide what folks will choose when they go to checkout, meaning default, everybody that comes to your website, what do you want them to have for a payment option when they check out? Well, right now, I have my testauthorized.net account set up where I can accept online payments for all orders when an order total is available. We're going to go into these more when we get to this point. I have purchase order, PayPal, and invoice. So right now, anybody that comes to my website can choose one of these four options to check out. But if you need to have a particular company have different payment options, that's where the but comes in. You would drill down to a particular company, and then you can make sure that you override the default, and maybe you want to give them different payment options. For instance, this print shop, maybe you don't want them to have the credit card payment, but maybe you want to make sure they have a purchase order and invoice available to them. You can override the default, give certain companies specific payment options, and you're on your way to customize payment options for certain companies, branches, or contacts on your website. We covered that a little bit regarding shipping options last week. Similar with payment options, you can drill down to particular companies, branches, or contacts and assign them specific payment options that that company needs or is looking for when they go to checkout. All right, that was a lot with payment options, but we want to make sure to not go over too quickly as there's a lot going on there. The next tab on the left, payment plans info text. I'll show you where this is located, but it says this is under the payment plans in the profile tab of each customer's account summary. I am logged into my account summary, and everybody will have a profile tab. Scrolling down on that profile tab below the different addresses that are available, there is a payment plans location here. Now, if I remember, I don't think I've edited the default that we provide to you, but we encourage you to read over the payment plans text that is in here and change this that fits your payment practices at your website. So I have 4 bullets, and it mentions about credit cards, debit cards, business and checks, and then accounts for government and educational institutions. If I look at what's on my website, here are the exact same 4 bullets word to word. So whatever you change in the payment plans info text and you save, this is what shows up when your print buyers are in their account under the profile tab when they scroll down and they look under payment plans.
And that's pretty safe text too, just in case you're wondering, like, oh, what's hiding there that I might need to change. If you leave it at the default, it's really pretty safe. The biggest areas that we would encourage you to look at is just really in that first line, maybe the first 2 lines, is what are the credit and debit cards that you're accepting, and if you need to alter that to to more accurately reflect your business practices, that's where it is. It's short enough, read through it all, but pretty safe starter text. But just like you said, Trish, we definitely absolutely want to encourage people to fine tune it to exactly what you're doing.
Yep. And a light bulb moment went on in my head here. Under online payments, regardless of which gateway service you connect with, these check marks allow you to display an icon on your website. That means, or when your print buyers check out, I should say, that's indicating which credit card company you allow them to pay with. So just remember, let's say you don't have American Express selected for whatever reason. Back under payment plans info text, you might want to remove that unchecked company, so you kind of match up what's under online payments. So just reiterate that what Dave said, to read over these and make sure that is what you provide. Moving on, we're still under my website, e-commerce settings, tax calculations. This is available for those that are subscribed to our e-commerce suite. What's nice about this is whatever states or provinces or territories that you select here, the online or instant sales tax calculator on the back end will automatically calculate the correct sales tax based on the location where the customer takes possession of their purchase. If they have it delivered to them, sales tax will be calculated based on where the shipment's being delivered to. If they're picking up the order at your print shop, the sales tax will be based on the address of your print shop. So it is basically where the exchange of goods happens, is where that sales tax come into place. Normally, I would probably have Michigan and maybe North Dakota selected here because I have ties to both of those, but I was kind of playing around. But for you to know what states, provinces, territories that you need to collect sales tax, go ahead and select all that is necessary and select save, and the instant sales tax calculator does the rest on its own to make sure your print buyers are charged the applicable sales tax before they place their order.
So I'll add a couple notes in there. I think it's important for our subscribers to know, well, anyone just kind of seeing news kind of drift by, you see that sales tax rules seem to always kind of take on a life of their own. There's always something new and some changes. So it's important for you to know that this database gets updated every single month with the most current tax legislation. You don't have to do anything except have that checkbox checked off, just like Trish mentioned there. The rest just kind of automatically happens. So it's nice to have something like that where it just works. And maybe just a tag team on the just works part of it, just to get it a little bit into the weeds on how it works. It's going to find that tax based on the location, which you already said there, Trish, but just to fine tune that a bit more, it'll be finding the zip code based location on that. And the reason I want to bring that up is every once in a while there's a kind of a little bit of I don't know, unique situation. Maybe unique doesn't quite sound right, but I always use my example of where I live. I live here in Fargo, but just right across our backyard, right across the tree line, there's a little bedroom community called Frontier. We both share the same zip code, 58104, but Frontier is its own tiny little town there. And it does not have the city of Fargo sales tax on that. The reason I wanted to bring that up is if there's ever a question on, there's two 58104 zip codes, or two cities within that 58104 zip code, sales tax is this calculator is going to have you covered. It's going to make sure that you get enough money to fulfill your tax obligations. And if there is a discrepancy in there, as there is between me and my backyard neighbors in Frontier, we'll get that higher rate in there so that you make sure that you're covered and can meet your tax obligations.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm glad you mentioned. That was a good one.
Today here. I wasn't.
That's important though. Good example, Dave. I appreciate that. It's a little nuance there that can happen from time to time, but that's not too common, but it could come up.
You know, that's important to say too. That truly is an exception rather than a rule. So, yep. So here's the molehill, and thank you, everybody. I now turned it into a mountain. So now you know what happens there.
There we go. Dave, do we want to quick go over promo codes, or do we want to save that for next week?
Let's save that one. I think that's big enough where we'll want to give it its own attention there.
All right.
Plus,
All right.
knowing the way I'm going today, I'll just start jabbering and turn it into something that we shouldn't even go here. So,
Well, there's always good stories there, but if with that said, then we'll end at tax calculations and pick back up, assuming nothing else comes our way, with promotional codes and keep on going and see where next Thursday leads us. So with that, we wish everyone a great rest of their Thursday and check back with us next week. All right, take care.